Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a Theater Thursday. So excited, y'all. We have had some phenomenal guests this week that have been showcasing all of the great artistry we have here throughout the Puget Sound region. And I'm so excited today because I got a whole Fat Ham Takeover happening today. Y'all, it's going to be a great show indeed. We got the director of Fat Ham, Timothy McCuen Piggee, is here, and I'm so excited to talk to him about the vision and how he utilized his directorial talent to bring it to life. And later on in the show, I get to talk to Aishé Keita, my girl who plays Opal in Fat Ham. We're going to be hearing all about her world into theater and how she's taking on this role as Opal in Fat Ham. But of course, it is the top of the show, y'all, so it's a perfect time for you to participate. Can you believe it? You're helping us grow here on the Day with Trae. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with folks who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on the Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, we still have you covered because you can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network in the Day with Trae. You'll find us on whichever platform is your favorite. Just search there and you'll find us. Shout out to everybody who is listening too, by the way. We are appreciating y'all listening because y'all are also tagging this podcast and sharing the podcast. So thank you for doing that as well. And to all the listeners out there. Well, I'm excited because y'all know me and my theater kid self is jumping in my seat to have a Theater Thursday for y'all today. So up first, we get the opportunity to talk to Timothy. We're going to learn all about his director skills on Fat Ham. What's up, Timothy? How are you?
Hey, it's good to be with you.
Yeah, so glad to have you here. Now, I'll tell you right now, I saw the opening night, and before we get into all things Fat Ham, I got to first start off with all things Timothy.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your background. What got you into the world of theater?
Well, I was born and raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, of all places. And I had a sister, an older sister, who was one of the founding members of Salt Lake Acting Company. And so it was a fledgling organization at that time, and they would use the basement of our house as a rehearsal studio sometimes. So I would sneak out of bed, climb down, sit on the stairs, and just sort of listen in, and they would be rehearsing shows like The Last Sweet Days of Isaac or Hair or things like that, and that's sort of how I got the bug.
Wow. I mean, talk about someone who was like, let me hear and let me see, but it also obviously opened up a whole new world in terms of artistry. Tell us about some of those first beginnings where you got to find yourself on a stage.
Well, I think my earliest memory is, I think maybe ninth grade. Was started doing plays that way. High school, the same thing, but it wasn't until maybe the junior year in high school. I was all set to be a minister, so I was ready to go to the seminary, but I wound up auditioning for a talent scholarship for the University of Utah, and they said, why don't you come and play with us for 4 years? And I did, and that just sort of got the ball rolling.
Wow. I mean, you know, there's always these tethers, right? When I think about some of those anchors for me in starting in theater and production, so much of it was like seeing something great and then being like, whoa, I want to get into that. So I love that you have this amazing start and that you found your way into it. I think the arts world is all the better for it. I'm sure seminary would have been fine too, but you know, it's beautiful that you've been able to do that. Now you went through as an actor, you know, being on stage. Tell us about that transition from, you know, being an actor to moving into being a director.
Well, I think it was in the mid-90s when I first arrived in Seattle. I took a job with the, I guess it was Seattle Public Parks or something like that, with Langston Hughes Cultural Arts Center, which I know Justin Emeka is going to be on your show, and so that's where I met him. And they had a summer arts program, and for 2-3 years, I served as the artistic director of that program, that summer program. And so we would write these, I think, maybe 3 shows a summer for the young people to present, and that's sort of the my entree into directing, and then I became a faculty member at Cornish College of the Arts, and so I would direct productions there, and everything just sort of blossomed. But right now, that seems to be my primary focus. I'm not performing as much as I used to, but directing more and more regularly.
Well, I think there's something really important too about understanding the stage from an actor perspective and bringing that perspective into the role of a director. How have you been taking on the role of a director and kind of bringing your own perspective and your lived experience to the productions you've been a part of?
Well, I think my hope is that I would work with actors the way that I like to be worked with, the way that I like to be spoken to, the way that I would like to be treated. I can completely empathize with that process and how lonely or how fraught it might be. So I just really like to gauge the temperature of who I'm in the room with and try to honor that and give them what they need in any given moment.
Yeah. Well, there's always something so special too, I think, about the cast. I think about the family that, every production kind of creates. And I remember being in different productions and always feeling so close to those that I was, on stage with and all the folks who were working behind the scenes. It's funny enough because we were just talking before the show about really what got me started was Felicia V. Loud. Her and Roll It Thunder, Hear My Cry. And then you're like, I played their father in that show. And I'm like, what? There's always these connections that you make with the different cast members. How has it been on Fat Ham to have this phenomenal cast working together so seamlessly?
It's been a great pleasure, an honor, and a gift. I know those are just, buzzwords, but really to reconnect with Felicia, to reconnect with Aishé, who was a student of mine at Cornish College of the Arts. I've been a long time admirer of Reggie Jackson, and then to have these two newcomers that are new to me, Taj Burrows, who plays Juicy, and Samaj Miller, who plays Larry. I didn't mean to leave Chip Sherman out, but I worked with Chip for the first time when I played Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, and he played the younger version of my character. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's all these connections, and to be honest, you can tell that the cast is very comfortable with one another. That's something that I gained while watching the show. But this is a depiction of Hamlet, right? I mean, this is Shakespeare, right?
Well, it's informed by Hamlet,
okay.
But it's also its own journey, right? I think what James Imes is asking us to do is to sort of shift our gaze away from perhaps the typical depictions of Black trauma that we would see in the theater, and to say that we can embrace Black joy, and more specifically, Black queer joy.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I think, Seattle's such a great market for shows like this. I am always thinking about the plethora that we have here, particularly in the arts for Black artists, right? Like there's something that you got to find good characters that you can resonate with, because we've been having to play these in the box characters, and people get tired,
Right.
Yeah. How was it working with all of these folks in terms of bringing this story out to life? Because there's a lot of comedic nodes here that clearly were hitting the audience when I was present. But it's something that is it's such a blend of the tragedy stuff, but with all of these amazing laughs in between. How is it to really bring that out in the cast?
Well, I think from my point of view, I really wanted to cast a group of people, that the local artists that were here in Seattle, that they could showcase aspects of themselves that we don't normally get to see, right? They're not normally sort of cast or get to reveal themselves that way. You spoke earlier about the atmosphere in the rehearsal room, and I'm a big believer that the work is hard already. So let's not make it hard on each other, right? Let's just push concerns right off to the side and make it really about the work and about your humanity and how your humanity can illuminate these characters. The beauty about Fat Ham is that we all know those people. Right? We all grew up with them, we all interact with them, and one thing that I was really stringent with myself about is that I did not want to create stereotypes. That I think that might be a trap of the play, that if you play things overbroad or things don't necessarily ring true, and my mantra has been, it has to be true. Right? That anybody who's been to a cookout knows that things can go from 0 to 60 like that, right? You can be as big as whatever and then just focus like a laser beam just a couple of seconds later. So that's what I really wanted to establish in the rhythm of that piece, because to me, when I read the play, that was the music that was in my ear.
It's so important to bring that out too. I think you're absolutely right, and I know that you're, when you talk about characters that we've all experienced, and we know those characters, very true. And it was great to kind of see how folks took on their own personal notes to the role and brought it out in their own ways. The audience was just a ruckus when I was there. I want to ask you about the audience response to these characters and to this show. Tell us more about how they're receiving all this great work.
Well, something that I think it was Garland Wright who wrote in his book about directing is that there comes a point in the process where you feel terribly lonely and isolated and start questioning if you're making the right choices or if it's going to land with an audience. And in full transparency, that was me just before we went into previews, because I wasn't sure if what was in the rehearsal hall was going to ring true with an audience. And the minute we invited an audience into the process, I knew that we were hitting it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things too where, I was there with a friend and we were like, oh, like people, we are really like, this is really hilarious. But I really appreciate, the intentionality to bring these characters out for folks to really see themselves in them as well, which is very interesting the way that these characters are portrayed. But overall, the story is one of those stories that, literally has so much joy as well attached to it. And so I can understand the intentionality of that. When you think about the things that you really want the audience to walk away with, tell us from a director perspective, what are some of those things that are really vital for you in terms of folks kind of walking away with what y'all are pouring out there on that stage?
I think it's Felicia Rashad who says that, what she strives for in her work is that we may not have a connection or an understanding of what a set of given circumstances might be in a play or in a story, but if you're an audience and you're sitting in the audience and you can go, I recognize that. I may not fully understand it, but I recognize that behavior, or I recognize, or there's something that's resonating inside me, and that's what I'm hoping. The occasions that I've had to go back and see the show, I like to stand out by the exit, and something that is really gratifying to me is that pretty much everyone's feeling the same thing. And what more could I hope for, right? If people have a joyful expression or a countenance on their face, but if everyone's feeling the same thing, that they've been on a ride that they didn't want to get off, and that there were surprises, that there were tears. I mean, I still tear up, right? I cried today. Who knew? So those are all of the things that really make this experience so rich.
Yeah, well, I'm so grateful that you had time in your busy schedule to join us today. Of course, people are still looking to come and see the show. Y'all are going through until May 12th.
Yes.
Look right here. Let folks know how they get their tickets.
Well, you can visit seattlerep.org, and there you can find the link to the box office or a telephone number to call for tickets.
Oh, Timothy, thanks so much for being here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me too.
Oh, wow. Y'all, I'm telling you, this Theater Thursday continues, because up next we got Aishé Keita in the building. She's going to be telling us all about her journey into the world of art and how she's portraying Opal in Fat Ham. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
Looking for laughs? Looking for love? Fast-talking Figaro has got you covered. Toe-tapping melodies, lively staging, and colorful costumes. Don't miss The Barber of Seville, May 4th through 19th at McCall Hall. Tickets at seattleopera.org.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is my girl, Aishé Keita. Hi. I'm so glad you found your way to The Day with Trae. And to be honest, when I saw you on that stage, I was just beaming, girl. You did a phenomenal job. I want to get to your beginnings because you've been involved in the arts world in a wide variety of ways. Tell us about what first kind of made you feel that the stage was where you had to bring some of your talent.
Oh man, it goes back to my father, really. My father was a storyteller. He would always tell me stories, like just African storytelling, and I just was fascinated by it. And I got into my first play when I was in kindergarten, and I literally been doing it ever since.
You know what? It's so interesting because I go back to elementary school and thinking about like, what was the first time I hit the stage? And it's so funny. I still have the VHS tape of my very first play, like in third grade.
Oh my God, do you remember what you were too?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it was a great time, but you know what? That's the thing. The arts calls you to it. There's a real calling and you have to pick up the call. But I also say that arts are a way to show the sign of the times. And I talk about the zeitgeist all the time because it really is very specific to us, seeing different points in history through the way that art is depicted on stage. How have you been able to kind of carry that through in some of the productions you've been a part of?
Oh, wow. With the productions that I've been a part of, I think a lot of it, I'm always trying to pull, and I'm always interested in doing work that does talk about the times, that does shake up the times, that does are asking us questions to look at what is happening around us. And I've always done productions that that push that boundary, and especially with Fat Ham right now. I think there's something that is so beautiful about us creating Black joy right now and being in spaces and in community where we are joyous. We are finding ourselves again and finding love within ourselves, with love within our communities, transforming ourselves, wanting to reach higher, wanting to become better within ourselves and within our communities. And I think Fat Ham is asking that question, and that's what we're asking outside of the play too.
Well, it's such a phenomenal cast. I mean, you're with some really great folks. Of course, I was just gushing out about Felicia Villau, one of my girls, to ever do it. And it's so beautiful to watch this kind of connection between the two of you and Fat Ham as you play her daughter.
Yes.
And, you know, there is this almost contentious relationship, but you still find a way to showcase the level of respect towards her as your mother. Tell us about that intricate detail and that nature that y'all have been able to kind of work through for all of the audience to experience.
Well, I'm very blessed to act with Felicia Loud, and I'm blessed because she's also a good friend of mine outside of this. So we had a relationship before entering the stage. But what we also discussed, me and her, was what it means to, even though you're in tribulations and hard times with your mother, you still love her, you still respect her, you still honor her, but you're just trying to grapple with this relationship because you see so much of yourself in her, and you love that, and you also want to be pushed away from that. And I grew up with a mother with that, and we were able to really connect in it and find a common language to express it on stage.
Well, I'm telling you, it definitely came through as you play Opal. And I just adored your facial expressions, which I think really sold it for me. Tell us about how it was to act with all of these other phenomenal folks on stage in terms of that family. Timothy and I were just talking about it, right? But tell us how that's been to be able to be kind of a part of such an iconic cast.
It is a blessing. And the first day of rehearsal, till now, we walk in and we just offer. We're always offering. We're always just willing to step into the character and then surrender to the work since the very beginning, and with an ease and with a breath and with graciousness. We're always watching out for each other. That's what I really love about this cast. Like anything that's like, oh, that's happening, let me go over there, let me help. We're always watching out for each other in this show. Like everyone has each other's back, and that makes us so much stronger because the care is really there.
Yeah, that's so important. Honestly, in order for you to have a really great show, you have to have levels of that, seriously, and it has to be something that's palpable, I think, for the audience. But one of those other things that I love about live performance art is the response from the audience matters, right? And, you're feeding off of the response. Tell us a bit about that kind of, receiving of your work from the audience. As we, like I said, it was a ruckus when I was there, but how has it been to really see the audience take this story in?
It has been a pleasure. With Fat Ham and specifically, Fat Ham, the other cast member is really the audience. Like we need the audience in the show because it provides us with information to what is the next moment going to be. And there's a lot of moments where we directly talk to the audience as well in this show. So it's always about pulling the audience in and engaging with each other and the audience. So that the feedback we get and like the loud and the laughter, it's all welcomed. It's all so powerful, and it inspires our performances to go deeper.
Well, it really is a part of the show too, because y'all break the fourth wall several times, right?
Yes.
And it's also one of those things where I found myself being like, "Whoa, are they talking to us? Okay, wait, they talking to us,
Sure are.
right?" And I think that there's so much great artistry that comes from that, because honestly, it allows for the audience to explore, what are we seeing on stage?
Yes.
Wait a minute, what they're projecting at me, is that where my mind was going?
Yes.
So I found myself doing this whole self-analysis of like, wait, no, I'm not there. Wait, maybe she's right. Maybe I was kind of judging, right? So I really appreciated that. When you think about, for you, continuing in your artistry, what are some of the things that you're really excited about? Because I feel like Seattle's in such an artist eclectic scene, right?
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you're excited to continue to explore in your artistry?
The next thing I'm really excited to explore is I have this company called Sasa and Yeye, and I'm really excited to explore Anansi stories. I really am inspired about bringing our African storytellings, like what my father taught me, back to the children, so that they know, like, you can just remember those stories and you can just dance in the street because you know those stories, your family knows those stories, you grow up knowing those stories. So I want to do what my father did and bring it back to the community.
I love that. Gave me instant goosies, instant chills, because you're so right. We talk about kind of griot, right?
Yes.
It's just the history of storytelling, and how we always in African cultures had this oral history of passing the stories down, even from our own families. And at some generation, at some point in time, we kind of lost that. We kind of stopped doing it. So I love that you're going to be intentional to bring these stories back, and for the young folks to be able to experience these characters that so many of us grew up hearing the stories about. Oh yeah, okay, Uncle's gonna tell that story again. You're gonna tell that story again. So I love that you're doing that. I just want to thank you publicly for you pouring into the artist scene here. It's folks like yourself who are keeping it going, and it's so inspiring for me, because again, I'm always gonna be a theater kid no matter what, and I love the fact that we have so many great folks, talented people showing up on stages. So thank you for all the work you're doing. He already told us where to get tickets, but I got to give you time. If folks are wanting to catch up with you and maybe follow your journey, look right there and let them know how they stay tapped in.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Aishé. My next show is going to be at Langston Hughes. I'll be in the show called The Uterine Files. Please come check it out.
Oh, Aishé, my girl.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here. It's a pure pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you so much.
Anytime you have anything going on, the Day with Trae is here for you, okay? So don't forget us.
Thank you.
Oh, y'all, what amazing Theater Thursday. I'm going to wrap all of this theater greatness right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
What's up, everybody? Trae Holiday here with a special announcement. Something sexy for the city is coming to our town, Tacoma Dome, May 3rd. You want to get your tickets today because you want to see Ashanti, Monica, Maya, Kiki Wyatt, and Anne Marie. Y'all, I have the pleasure of emceeing this phenomenal concert. Join me and get your tickets today for an epic performance from these R&B divas.
Let's start the show.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. What a phenomenal Theater Thursday it was. Huge shout out to the Fat Ham Takeover, all right? Timothy McCuen Piggee, the director, doing phenomenal work. And of course, Aishé Keita holding down the role of Opal in Fat Ham. If you have not seen this show, you definitely want to get your tickets today. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's one of those shows that takes you on a journey. You know, it is a one-act show, no intermission, so you are there on the edge of your seat really the entire time, engaging with the cast. It is an experience, so make sure you get your tickets today. And furthermore, support the arts here. You know, we have phenomenal shows that are happening all the time, and I am always here to dispel the myth that nothing is going on in Seattle. I promise you, if you tap into the artist world, you will find so many different things to do. I'm always finding myself at a show, and honestly, there's such great talent that either is from here or that is coming here to put these shows on for us. And so it's on us as folks from the Pacific Northwest region to be showing up and have ourselves in those seats so that we can support all this great artistry that's happening around us. Y'all be inspired, because no matter what it is that you do, if you bring it out to the public, we all benefit. So please be inspired by the stories that my guests here have shared today. Y'all know, for me, I get to wrap it all up tomorrow. And until then, at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.